A lot of people are buying the dip. Here's why. The Trump tariff impact on the market, it's causing a lot of volatility. All right, today is March 7th, and a lot of people are buying the dip. That's right. The S&P 500, it's been going down little by little, just as a lot of the stock market has. So before you guys call me crazy, let me explain, okay? I see a golden opportunity. So stick around to the end of the video. You'll have a clear strategy on how to play this. And if you find this useful, I'd be honored if you guys like and subscribe to the channel, okay? So number one, why is the stock market falling? Let's start with that obvious question. Why is the market tanking the way that it is? And it all comes down to Trump's threats of 25% tariffs on all imports from Canada, Mexico. Investors are really spooked, and the S&P 500 has dropped 7% in the last 2 weeks. So the Nasdaq is down about 10% from its highs. So let's be real. If Trump actually imposed these tariffs, what would happen to the U.S. economy? It would be devastating all around the board, right? There'd be job losses, higher inflation. The Federal Reserve wouldn't be able to cut rates, and ultimately the stock market would crash. So here's the thing. I think Trump is bluffing. Now, why do I think it's a bluff? Well, it's a negotiating tactic. That's what Trump does. And if we try to break it down logically, these tariffs were supposed to begin on February 4th, and they were postponed. March 4th, the tariffs went into effect. Then on March 5th, Trump extended a 1-month exemption to the automakers because car prices were just going through the roof, anywhere from $3,000 to $10,000, especially on more expensive American-made cars. They made it unaffordable. So on March 6th, which is yesterday, another 1-month extension for Mexican and Canadian imports under the USMCA was extended out. So let's not forget, Trump even lowered tariffs on certain things like fertilizer, 10%, and energy and electricity, another 10%. So see the pattern here, guys? There's delays, there's extensions, and then reductions. So this reminds me of those government shutdown threats we used to have years ago, right? They would drag it out. They would act like they're fighting behind the scenes. And then they would even maybe let the government shut down for a few days. And then, boom, a deal is made. And so this is no different, right? Trump isn't really serious about 25% tariffs. He knows it would crash the market. And let's face it, Trump bases his success by the success of the stock market. So here's why a lot of people are buying the dip. So based on that, the dip is a buying opportunity. A lot of people are putting money into S&P ETFs. And I'm not saying that the market won't drop further. But that's why it's not good to go all in. And remember, if the market drops another 10%, a lot of people are going to be buying more. Why? Because in the landscape of long-term investing, the market always seems to go up, right? So check this out. Historically, after the Federal Reserve pivots, which means after they start lowering interest rates, here's what happens to the S&P 500. 1 year later, it's up 16%. 3 years later, it's up 41%. 5 years later, it's up 97%. So after this 5 year, after the 5 years the Fed pivots, the stock market has never really been down, not once. So a lot of people are liking their odds with that. Now, the bigger picture. Let's take a step back, look at the bigger picture, and talk about the great melt-up, right? The stock market is not going up because the economy is booming. It's going up because of financial asset inflation, right? So in other words, the dollar's losing value. And Trump he's not going to reduce the national debt. It seems like he's going to add trillions upon trillions to it. So inflation isn't stopping. The great melt-up is still pretty much in full effect. So here is a lot of ways people are protecting themselves. One, stocks, right? S&P 500, ETFs. A lot of people are holding real estate. A lot of people are holding physical gold and silver, some even cryptocurrencies. But if you're holding cash, you are going to lose purchasing power. And the rich are getting richer because they own real assets, not cash. So is this the definition of disaster capitalism? Well, here's something interesting, right? There's speculation that Trump is intentionally crashing the stock market to let wealthy investors buy in at a discount. So this is called disaster capitalism, where crisis is manufactured to benefit the elite. And then we can look at examples, right? So the 2008 financial crisis, right? And also the COVID market crash. The government will always find a reason to cut interest rates and devalue the dollar so they can refinance the debt. And in the idea of what's happening with the Great Melt-Up, there are going to be a lot of manufactured crises that are going to come along the way. So whether it's going to be war, tariffs, some kind of black swan event, something is bound to happen. So I'm sticking to this plan. A lot of people are probably have a similar plan in place, but as far as real assets go, like stocks, I am potentially going to be buying more. So here are the key takeaways as we wrap up, okay? The market will go up in the long run, but expect the short-term volatility, which is really great for the day traders, right? Because volatility creates a lot of opportunities on the dips. And then, of course, it's a risky way to invest, but some of those guys are really good at it, right? And don't go all in. You know, I'm keeping some cash on the sidelines to buy the dips, of course, have emergency situations, but don't ever put all your eggs in one basket. And I think that's always been a rule when it comes to investing. Stocks aren't the only protection. Remember the gold, silver, real estate, cryptocurrency, real assets. Those are great financial protections when we're in a recession, depression, these kind of things. And so, in closing, this is why a lot of people are buying right now. So what do you guys think? Do you plan on buying the dip? Are you waiting for prices to go lower? Let me hear your take. What do you guys think about this market? And once again, if you guys like this channel, I would be honored if you guys like and subscribe. And we'll see you the next round. All right. Thank you guys so much.